Jam mo na truck ho kya.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. We're back with the Q&A session. Any questions related to Canadian immigration, any program that you're particularly targeting, definitely would be able to answer your one-on-one questions here. Yes, we do. You need an appointment if you want to book a consultation, be it in person or online. Aman, no, we're not open this Monday. It's Thanksgiving, so we're closed for the long weekend. Lavi Nagpal. What I think about Alberta PNP at this point is that we need to wait. We need to wait and see how their draws play out, because that's when we'll know what kind of pool they have, how much candidates they have, what is their highest threshold, and then accordingly we'll be able to kind of judge on, which candidates would have higher chances to apply. Upsana asks, can I study while on work permit? Um, as long as you're studying a short term program, which is less than 6 months, yes, you can. There shouldn't be any problem. Manthan asks, any update on BCPNP Health Authority stream? Particularly, no. So, what they've said is it's only those particular, hospitals who are not providing support for non healthcare occupations, so they won't be supporting, but those who are still supporting. So it depends on those certain um, institutions. Mohinder asks, I'm in teaching profession. My wife has nanny 1 year course with 6 month experience. Is there any hope? We have visitor visa, but now we are in India. Um, if we are talking about the home childcare provider, we're still waiting for the information. IRCC hasn't announced it. As soon as they do, we'll know more what the program requirements are going to be. UV Singh, when you think next Ontario skill trade will be out? I think it's going to be next year, January 2025. Just as I've completed BSc nursing and 10 years experience in DMC hospital. Okay, if you've appeared for a language test, then also you have to get your BSc ECA done with VES or any other institution which are accredited, and you can have an express entry profile and according to what your score threshold is at that point, your CRS scores, will be able to see what kind of application, what kind of chances you have for the express entry. Otherwise, you can also rely on provincial nominations. Specifically talking, Ontario is targeting under the human capital priority streams. How can I prove work experience back home from an employer as a farm supervisor? Mind you, the company is not in existence again, and salary was paid in cash. Um, in terms of salaries paid in cash, you can get a cash certificate, but technically, any company which is non-existence, which is not in existence anymore, the people who established the company, the employers, the supervisors, people who were working with you, they're still there, so you can contact them and you can get a letter of reference, letter of employment confirmation. So those things do help with the experience proving. Lavi, you can contact our office and definitely we can discuss about the PNPs. Pavitra, I'm not sure whether the targeted draws will continue or not, but it does seem at this point, given how Canadian immigration is working, it's all about targeted draws only. Maxine asks, applied mom dad PGP in June. How long time talking now? Um, in PGP sense, are you talking about the super visa application? But so any application that was done in June, July, they're taking about 3 months approximately. So yes. For the permanent residence application, again, permanent residence, technically, if we talk about processing time, they take between 12 to 24 months. But we're getting decisions between, I would say, 8 to 9 months. They are getting permanent residency for parents. They've kind of expedited the parents' PR process now. Transportation occupation express entry category draw ਦੀ ਕੋਈ possibility this year? Um, ਪੋਸਿਬਿਲਿਟੀ ਇਸ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਨਾਲ ਲੱਗਦੀ ਆ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਕੋਟਾ ਹਜੇ ਵੀ ਪਿਆ ਆ। ਸੋ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕੋਟਾ ਅਲਾਟ ਕੀਤਾ ਸੀ ਸਾਲ ਦਾ, ਉਹਦੇ ਹਿਸਾਬ ਨਾਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਕਿ ਹਜੇ ਕਨਕਲੂਡ ਹੋਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਆ। ਬਟ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਰੀਸੈਂਟ ਚੇਂਜਸ ਆ ਰਹੇ ਆ ਇਮੀਗ੍ਰੇਸ਼ਨ 'ਚ, ਇਮੀਗ੍ਰੇਸ਼ਨ ਮਿਨਿਸਟਰ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਜਿਵੇਂ ਅਨਾਉਂਸਮੈਂਟਸ ਕੀਤੀਆਂ ਜਾ ਰਹੀਆਂ, ਸੋ ਹੋ ਸਕਦਾ ਆ ਸ਼ਾਇਦ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕੋਟਾਜ਼ ਅਸਾਈਨ ਕੀਤੇ ਈਅਰ ਵਾਸਤੇ, ਉਹ ਨਾ ਪੂਰਾ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹ ਰਹੇ ਹੋਣ, ਜਾਂ ਉਹ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਨਾ ਉਹ ਉਸ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਨਾਲ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਜਾਣਾ ਚਾਹ ਰਹੇ ਹੁਣ। ਸੋ ਕੈਨ ਨਾਟ ਸੇ ਫॉर श्योर। ਆਉਣਾ ਤੇ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਆ ਅਗਰ ਆਪਾਂ ਡਰਾਜ਼ ਦੀ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਇਸ ਟਾਈਮ ਤੇ ਕਿ ਜਿੰਨੇ ਕੁ ਆਏ ਆ। ਸੋ ਸਾਲ 'ਚ 3 ਤੋਂ 4 ਅਸੀਂ ਐਕਸਪੈਕਟ ਕੀਤੇ ਸੀਗੇ ਕਿ ਟਰਾਂਸਪੋਰਟੇਸ਼ਨ ਦੇ ਡਰਾ ਆਉਣਗੇ। Bhumika Goyal asks, is it okay to go back to India after submitting documents after ITA? Yes, you can go back to India. That's not a problem. See, if you are submitting any permanent residence application based on a provincial nomination, and that too, which is job offer based, then you have to continue your employment because that is the basis of your permanent residence application. But if your application is solely based on experience, then yes, you can be outside Canada as well at the time they're taking the decision or they're processing that application. It's absolutely okay. Just make sure that there are certain other factors that you have to consider. You have to consider the proof of funds requirements if you're not a CEC candidate, or if your experience doesn't fall within the last 3 years. So things like that would go in, but you need to make sure as per your category that you applied under, you're meeting the eligibility even if you're outside Canada. Rashi Arora asks, is it advisable to upload as many documents as you can or just require documents for non-express entry? Yeah, don't do as many as possible situation. Just upload what's reasonable documents to prove a certain fact, a certain experience. So when we talk about experience documents from Canada, they will include your job letter, pay slips, T4, notice of assessment. So these documents are a must. You don't have to go over and beyond and get the reference letters from supervisor, from your colleagues. So that's not necessary, unless you're not able to have or prove through the prior document. So it's all a situation to situation basis application. Cheyenne asked, the farm was sold to another farm. Can the new farm give me the work reference letter? Technically, no, because then they were not your owners. It has to be the first one who can confirm, because the new owner does not have any proof that you were employed, unless you were also employed under that new farm owner as well. After how much time can I raise a web form to inquire about restoration and work permit? Um, at this point, if we talk about the processing time, they're taking about 3-4 months to process these work permit or restoration applications. But you can raise a web form. It's up to you. There's no time limit to it, so you can raise one after 3 months as well. It's absolutely okay. Raman says, I'm working as a butcher in Muskoka. Does it come in any stream? If you're working as a butcher, it does come under the agriculture stream of Express Entry, and it's for the retail and wholesale butchers. So, yes, you could fall under the Express Entry, but make sure if you are relying on Express Entry, you should have enough CRS to get those draws. And agricultural draws, they're quite not so frequent. So that's something you have to kind of have a backup option. See whether you have enough time to wait for those draws or not. Otherwise, look for alternate options like PNPs, international student stream, foreign worker stream, occupation in demand, wherever your profile fits in. Sidhu asks, I'm able to get a job as PSW by completing PC or GDA from India. Um, when we talk about the personal support worker jobs, earlier there was no such requirement. Nobody was asking whether you have the PSW course or not. um, let's say somebody had some relevant experience, you would be able to get a job. But I don't know now which context are you asking. Are you in Canada or you outside Canada? So I'm not so sure about that. But if we're talking about you being outside Canada, living back home, and you have done certain courses, PSW's minimum education requirement is high school. So as long as you've done a high school, you're able to perform the duties. Just do some minor certifications like CPR and something health related, so that you're able to give context on how you started working and you have the required knowledge and everything for the occupation that you're doing. Is there immigration lawyer? So, how much do you charge to represent a refugee claimant? You can reach out to our office and we can definitely discuss what your case is in terms of a refugee claim in Canada. Do you think category based draw will continue till next year? Yes, I do think category based draws will continue next year as well, because at this point, what Canada is looking in terms of permanent residency is sending category based draws only. That's their prioritization in all the terms, in the provincial nomination, in any permanent residence program they have. So, yes, I do think they will be continued. My spouse has a diploma and wanted to apply for PR in childcare PR program. Um, Absolutely, she can do that if she has the required experience. At this point, again, the most we know about this new pathway that's going to come next year for the childcare, and support worker is that you need to have minimum high school, get the vest done for that high school, minimum CLB 4 level English, so get your IELTS done, then your job offer from Canada, and relevant experience to the occupation that you're getting the job offer in. So, relevant experience means if you are going to get a job offer in childcare, you should have something relevant, childcare teaching experience in the kindergarten section. So, something like that to prove that you have the relevancy. In terms of experience, how much experience is required will kind of, the details are not shared yet by immigration. So, once they do, we'll definitely be able to discuss on that. My application is under FSW and CEC. I'm married and my partner is non-accompanying. How much fund should I show? And is it okay to mention that points are not meeting for partner? Even if, let's say, the partner is non-accompanying, definitely you can say that you're not meeting the scores with partners. So that's why you're putting it. But if you are qualifying for CEC, you are not required to show any funds. If you do want to know how much funds are required in general sense for Express Entry, you can just type on web proof of funds requirements and you'll be able to see as per the family size. Just Raj, no healthcare draw for express entry. We've been waiting too. There's no pause or anything. It's just the draws are not coming in for the category based. It's we're waiting. That's all I can say. I owe CRA some money and I'm paying that in installments. Is it still advisable to upload the notice of assessment? Yes, to that. Definitely do that. Notice of assessment. So you owing CRA money does not make you inadmissible, and it does not affect your permanent residency. Kamaldeep Singh, I graduated from 2-year office administration health services program in Sheridan in April. I'm considering moving to Alberta. Will it be a good option? Um, if you if you're planning to move to Alberta, especially Calgary, as you've mentioned, you need to know that first you need 12 months of experience within the last 18 months before you can file any provincial nomination in Alberta. Uh, then you have to create an expression of interest. Your employer has to support you with an LMI supported job offer. It cannot be just a form that they fill like other provinces. So it's not like that in Alberta. LMI is a requirement for the job offers. So as long as they're prepared to do that, yes, Alberta is an option. Kaur says, I'm in Alberta and did healthcare aid and have experience of 1 year as a um, HCA. Okay, so if it's a tier 4 position we're talking about, again, you could explore Alberta PNP opportunity stream if your employer is supporting with the LMI based job offer. If there's no lawyer, can a refugee claimant fill their portal to be scheduled for an immigration hearing? If yes, what's the possibility of being approved for PR? Um, if you are already a refugee claimant, as in your claim has been approved, then yes, you can file a permanent residence yourself as well. Make sure you are complying with the checklist. Make sure you are submitting a complete application. Yeah, as long as that's there, you don't need a lawyer to represent you. Now, if we're talking about initiating a refugee claim, again, you can go unrepresented. It's up to you. If you think you can represent your case yourself, you can definitely do it. You can submit the claim through the portal, and you then have to wait for them to hear to respond you back and call you for an eligibility hearing if you're doing it inland. And once you're there, they're going to give you a work permit. They will ask you questions, take your passport. So things like that would go in, and then usually at this point what we're seeing is the hearing time is somewhere between 15 to 18 months. That's how many months they take to schedule these hearings for refugee claims at the RPD. So that should be the wait time. For new students after November 1st, what type of courses are included in trade and transport stream? What type of course? Uh, I have to check, to be honest. I don't really know the list on top of my head. But then if we say trade and transport, yeah, trade does include the plumbing courses, the welding courses, then there's electrician courses. So these courses would be a part of the field of study. But then you'll be able to kind of, click on the link of field of study, and there are a lot of details about which programs are eligible if you want to apply as a new student. Raman says, employer agreed to support me with LMI. I have 2 years of work permit left. I just started working as a butcher. Okay, so again, as I said, butcher express entry agricultural draws are there. If they support you with LMI, now I don't know what CRS you are at right now. If you, let's say, are at already a very high CRS 500, and you're reaching 500 with LMI, it is possible that you could be called in under the Canadian experience class. But first of all, even if, let's say, the employer is helping, whatever the situation is, you need the experience, at least some experience, at least 1 year minimum, to create the profile, and that's how you'll be able to get into the pool. You cannot do it even if you have an LMI and no experience, so that's not possible. Rushi Patel, how much fund do I need to show when applying for PR on AIP Nova Scotia basis? Rushi, if you have a full time job in Canada, so it basically covers your requirement. But roughly speaking, they do ask 13,000, I think 13,800 for 6 month period. So just double it, and that's the amount you need. If your job that you're getting exceeds that amount, then you don't have to particularly show anything on the side. Your job offer covers that basis of proof of funds requirement. Do you provide help in getting job, which helps in PR and want? No, no, Sana, we do not provide any support with the job search. We don't. I have 2 years of experience in early childhood assistant in Ontario. Is there any province program for? Um, if we talk about Ontario and you have 2 years of experience, foreign workers stream Ontario PNP would be a very good option for you. Reach out to your employer, ask for a job offer. If you are able to secure a job offer, create an expression of interest, and you could submit an application in the Ontario PNP foreign worker stream. I'm from India and received closed work permit, but have not registered my marriage in India. Can I register in Canada? Um, okay. When you say register, if you got married in India, the marriage has to be registered in India itself. It cannot be registered here. But if you are getting married in Canada, that's when you go ahead, get that get married. Um, through an officiant if it's a civil ceremony, and you apply for a marriage certificate. So this is the process. You cannot combine those processes. Can we expect a French category draw in January? I'm sorry, I cannot answer um, this. It's not something which me or any other consultant would know. um, these draws are based on immigration's discretion. Guide for nurses from Pakistan, general nursing currently serving at Saudi Arabia. Um, there was a time they were targeting nurses. Ontario was targeting nurses. Express Entry was targeting nurses at a much lower CRS as compared to what they're doing today, because the number of people who have already applied, or the expression of interest that have been created for people who are interested, have significantly raised during that time. Ever since they've made announcements, and ever since people became aware that these situations, your nurses are being targeted. So if you have done a general nursing and if you don't have a bachelor's, there are very slim chances of you getting qualified because the draws are quite on the high side. Kamal says, I'm a student here in logistics and supply chain management of 1 year, which will end in December. Is there any way to go India in February on my sibling marriage? Now, if you have completed the course, now my follow up questions would be, are you going to pursue another course, or you're going to complete the studies and apply for a post graduation work permit? And what's the duration going to be? Would you have your transcripts by that time? So I would suggest call our office, and definitely would be able to have a one on one consultation on that. Preeti asks, can I get married in Canada? Yes, you can get married in Canada. What you have to do is you have to get a marriage license. You have to go ahead and engage an officiant and get the marriage done. If it's a traditional marriage, you have to book the gurdwara, the temple, wherever you're getting married, and get married. You'll have a certificate from them, and with that certificate, you'll be able to apply for a marriage certificate. So, marriage certificate roughly takes about 2 to 3 months. ਮੈਮ ਤੁਸੀਂ OINP ਇੰਟਰਨੈਸ਼ਨਲ ਸਟੂਡੈਂਟ ਸਟਰੀਮ ਅੰਟਿਲ ਪਰਮਨੈਂਟ ਰੈਜ਼ੀਡੈਂਸ ਕਿੰਨਾ ਚਾਰਜ ਕਰਦੇ ਹੋ? ਸਾਡੇ ਓਨਟਾਰੀਓ PNP ਪਲੱਸ PR ਦੇ $3,000 ਚਾਰजेस ਹੁੰਦੇ ਆ, 1500 PNP ਦੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਆ, 1500 PR ਦੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਆ ਵਿਦਆਊਟ ਸਪਾਊਸ. As I got married in 2021 and not registered my marriage, if I want to get registered, should I get married here and get registered, as I came on visitor and converted my work permit from border, and now while Preeti again. Now, I'm not sure whether you mentioned your marital status in the visitor visa application or not. That's first thing. You can again get your marriage registered here, but that it has to be through the process that I've explained before. If you want, you can get it registered back home as well. So if your spouse is back home, they can register back home as well. I think you might even have to visit and sign, because the registration process has changed over the years now. So it's something I would kind of recommend you to. If you want to get registered here, definitely you can, but you can't do it alone here as well. Your spouse should be there. So ultimately, both of you guys have to be there wherever you are doing this. It's about OINP International Student Stream for couples. 1,500 is the PR fees, and if there's a spouse in the application, that's an additional $500. So 2,000 for the PR. Kamal says, I would like to apply my work permit, no plans to take further studies. I think it's in follow up with the PGWP or the sibling marriage question you were asking. So, Kamal, if you apply for the post graduation work permit and you leave Canada, it is possible that you can leave Canada. Just make sure that there's no risk to the PGWP, as in you were meeting all the compliance as per the PGWP requirements. You apply for the PGWP and you can leave. Once the approval comes in, you can submit an application for multiple entry while you're outside Canada. And just a heads up, multiple entries outside Canada are taking a long time. So basically, if you're doing a 1 year course, it will be a 1 year work permit. You will waste almost 6 to 7 months back home. um, if, let's say, you get an approval soon, but it's a 6 to 7 month process if you leave, because they'll process the application, they will send you the permit, then you'll submit a multiple entry. That's when you'll be able to come back with the stamp on the passport. You might even be left with 6 7 months on the permit by the time you're back. So I'm not sure how you want to go about that process, but I would say be very careful. Any update on work permit holder eligible to work in law enforcement in Alberta? As I'm moving to Calgary in hope to get into based upon security. I'm sorry, I'm not so sure about your question. No, Kamal, I don't know what you're asking. Bisham said, is it possible to do unpaid internship with you as a new consultant? Okay. Definitely we'll be able to talk more on this. Just give us a call, and then we can see what I can do there. I completed bachelor's degree in arts but no experience. Is it possible work permit? No. At this point, I don't recommend doing any such work permits. It won't get through. I'm assuring you it will not get through. Don't waste your money. Preeti, you can contact us. Definitely we'll be able to talk. You can call our office at 905-495-8500. Nate asks, I'm on a work permit and I want to fly to US to enter again with my visa is okay, or I need to take the work permit to my trip. Yes, do carry your work permit, the permit that you have with you while you're entering back in Canada. That's where the CBSA officers will check. What documents do I need to secure from my first employer if I'm changing my employer midway? Um, it depends on what category you're applying. If you are applying um, in job offer based applications, that's a problem. See, when we talk about getting your experience documents, it's usually job letter, pay slips, T4. That's all. These three things are there for you to kind of confirm your employment with any prior employers that you have worked with. Anything beyond that, it's something which is case specific, so you can talk to us over the call. Yes, Goldie, you can contact our office today and they'll be able to help you booking an appointment. If work permit expiration date on work permit is 14th October, is it valid till 14 October night? Yes, assume it's 14 October night. Usually, when we say in IRCC's terms, they go by universal times. And if you're living in Eastern Standard Time, EST, so at 7 p.m. in the evening, the UT time hits. So that's when the next day changes. So it's up to you, whatever you want to assume. But irrespective, they don't go very deep into these intricacies. You'll be okay, as long as you are, if you want to exit, as long as you're exiting, and if you want to submit a new application, then that's where UT time comes in. So make sure, any application that you want to do, let's say visitor record, to maintain your legal status, do it before the universal time hits and the day changes to 15th October. What is the actual timeline for Ontario PNP foreign worker stream? I've got an ONP invitation on 8th October. Once I submit the documents, what is the timeline to get PR? They're processing these applications within, I would say, 4 to 6 months. The processing time, to be honest, changes quite frequently these days. When we submit the application, it's 3 months, but then by the time we get a decision, it could be 6 months as well. The PR is taking about 6 to 8 months. प्रोसेसिंग टाइम की चल ਰਿਹਾ ਨੋਵਾ ਸਕੋਸ਼ੀਆ ਸਕਿਲਡ ਵਰਕਰ ਸਿਕਿਉਰਿਟੀ ਗਾਰਡ ਪੀਐਨਪੀ ਪ੍ਰੋਸੈਸਿੰਗ ਟਾਈਮ 8-8 ਮਹੀਨੇ ਵੀ ਲੱਗ ਰਿਹਾ ਇਸ ਟਾਈਮ ਤੇ, ਸਪੈਸ਼ਲੀ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਹੁਣ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਰੀਸੈਂਟਲੀ ਕਿਹਾ ਆ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਨੌਨ ਪ੍ਰਾਇੋਰਿਟੀ ਆ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਥੋੜਾ ਡਿਲੇ ਕਰਨਗੇ। ਸੋ ਹੋ ਸਕਦਾ ਹੁਣ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੀਆਂ ਵੀ ਐਪਲੀਕੇਸ਼ਨਸ ਇਨ ਪ੍ਰੋਸੈਸ ਆ ਫੂਡ ਸੈਕਟਰ 'ਚ ਜਾਂ ਸਿਕਿਉਰਿਟੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ, ਅਗਲੇ ਸਾਲ ਦੀ ਸਟਾਰਟਿੰਗ ਤੱਕ ਹੀ ਸ਼ਾਇਦ ਆਪਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਡਿਸੀਜਨ ਮਿਲਣਗੇ। Can I contact you after you are online? I don't. Goldie, ਤੁਸੀਂ office ਨੂੰ contact ਕਰ ਲਓ and they'll be able to send you a retainer as well if you want to start the process right away. I want to know that nursing leadership management is eligible after November 1st because I want to take Jan intake and I'm already in Canada and doing my second semester in palliative care. Most like I to be honest, I haven't really gone through that list, and each of those courses, but we can definitely check the field of studies from online. So they do have the list if your occupation does fall under that, but most likely yes, anything which is related to nursing would be under the field of study, the priority occupations only. Is it possible to get a work permit in visit visa? This is Sanallah. You can, yes, but what we need to see now is whether you have any job prospects or not, and it's going to be through LMI only. Working in same NOC from 2022 November and study ended in April 2023. Experience and experience should be declared from November or May. Study ended in April 2023. Okay. So, Harry, whenever you are creating an express entry profile and you mention that work history, and right now I'm just talking about the profile. So only mention the experience that you're claiming points for. Later on, once you receive an invitation, under the personal history section, mention whatever's pending out of that, work history section that you did not mention there. So you claim points for, it's going to be in the work history section. Whatever you don't claim points for, it's going to be in the personal history. So make sure personal history do not have any gaps, but then in the work history, just mention when you were legally authorized to start work, and then you're claiming points for that. You cannot combine those experiences because I'll tell you why. When you fill up those questions, they'll also ask you a couple questions down there. Now, few of the months are on the study time and few are in the work section. You won't be able to truthfully answer those questions together. So it either has to be separated, or you don't mention the study one here and you do it in the personal history. It's absolutely okay. I hope it kind of explains. It's a little tricky, but I think it's once you do that by yourself, the profile, it should be pretty straightforward. If LMI based work permit expires and want to restore status, do we need to apply visitor record or can straight go for applying restoration as a worker? It's up to you. One thing that you have to know is under the restoration period, you're not authorized to work. But of course, you're also not authorized to work under the visitor record status as well. So it's up to you which status you want to maintain on, and then you'll be able to apply for work. I completed bachelor's degree in arts but no experience. Is it possible for farmer visa cost? we do not give any LMIs. We do not support with any job offers. So that is not something I'll be able to guide you on. But again, any LMI you want to do, any work permit you want to do, be it farmer or anything, make sure you have relevant experience to prove to the officer that you are eligible to do the job that you are claiming you want to do. Truck driver is a good option for PR. If you're not a grade 12 graduate, then yes, truck driver could be a good option for permanent residence through the express entry. Grade 12 graduates might not get enough points, and they might not be able to get the CRS cutoffs. Aman, please book an appointment before you come into the office. Our consultations are usually appointment based only. Walk ins might have wait times. Gurmali, Gurmali, make sure you're putting your question together because I cannot, I don't know what your follow up question was. यूके तो ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਵਿਜ਼ਿਟਰ ਵੀਜ਼ਾ ਅਪਲਾਈ ਕਰਿਆ ਹੋਇਆ ਜੀ, ਰਿਜ਼ਲਟ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਇਆ। 15 ਮਈ 2024 ਨੂੰ ਬਾਇਓਮੈਟ੍ਰਿਕ ਡਨ ਹੋ ਗਏ ਸੀਗੇ। ਯੂਰਪ ਦੀ ਐਪਲੀਕੇਸ਼ਨਸ ਨੂੰ 8-8 9-9 ਮਹੀਨੇ ਲੱਗ ਰਿਹਾ ਵਿਜ਼ਿਟਰ ਵੀਜ਼ਾਸ ਨੂੰ। ਸੋ ਅਗਰ ਇੰਗਲੈਂਡ ਸੀਗੇ ਜਾਂ ਯੂਰਪ ਦੇ ਕਿਸੇ ਵੀ ਪਾਰਟ, ਜਰਮਨੀ, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਵੀ ਵਿਜ਼ਿਟਰ ਵੀਜ਼ਾਸ ਲਗਾਏ ਆ, ਡਿਸੀਜਨਸ ਜਲਦੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਆ ਰਹੇ। 8 ਮਹੀਨੇ 9 ਮਹੀਨੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਸਟੈਂਡਰਡ ਪ੍ਰੋਸੈਸਿੰਗ ਟਾਈਮ ਆ। ਅਗਰ ਆਪਾਂ ਵੈਬ ਫਾਰਮਸ ਵੀ ਪਾ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ, ਅੱਗੋਂ ਇਹੀ ਕਹਿ ਰਹੇ ਆ ਕਿ ਇਟਸ ਵਿਦਿਨ ਇਟਸ ਇਨ ਦ ਪ੍ਰੋਸੈਸਿੰਗ ਪਾਰਟ। ਸੋ ਉਹ ਪ੍ਰੋਸੈਸ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਆ। ਸੋ ਜਦੋਂ ਪ੍ਰੋਸੈਸ ਹੋ ਜੂਗੀ ਦੱਸ ਦੇਣਗੇ। ਸੋ ਯਾ, ਦੇ ਆਰ ਗੈਟਿੰਗ ਡਿਲੇਡ। Is PSW course still eligible to apply for post graduation work permit? What I'm going to do is I'm going to do a quick check on this field of study question that we're getting a lot. ਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਹੁਣੇ ਦੱਸ ਦਿੰਦੀ ਹਾਂ। Though early childhood educators agar koi kar raha siga, so ECEs are not a part of this field of study anymore. Agar tusi early childhood educator ho but special needs ya special care wale students ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਫੇਰ ਹੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ eligible ਹੋ PGWP ਵਾਸਤੇ, but not direct ECEs are not eligible for PGWP anymore. Dilpreet asks, I'm studying electrical engineering diploma course. Which province best for PR? It depends on your job. It's not about the program that you're doing. It depends what kind of job offer you're going to get and what kind of pathways you'll have corresponding to that. I applied AIP 2 months ago, New Brunswick, didn't receive endorsement. Do know kinna time lagda. 3 months the processing time endorsements is time. No, I don't think personal support workers are a part of the PGWP list anymore. ਮੈਮ ਨਾਲ ਯੂਕੇ ਤੋਂ ਯੂਐਸ ਅਪਲਾਈ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਜੀ। ਹਾਂਜੀ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਯੂਐਸ ਵੀਜ਼ਾ ਅਪਲਾਈ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ। ਵਿਜ਼ਿਟਰ ਵੀਜ਼ਾਸ ਹੈ, ਕਿੰਨੇ ਵੀ ਕੰਟਰੀਜ਼ ਦੇ ਇੱਕ ਟਾਈਮ ਤੇ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹੋ। ਉਹਦੇ 'ਚ ਕੋਈ ਲਿਮਿਟ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦੀ। what we're going to do is ਜਿੰਨਾ ਵੀ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਕੁਐਸਚਨਸ ਆ ਕਿ ਕਿਹੜੇ ਫੀਲਡ ਆਫ ਸਟੱਡੀ ਵਾਲੇ PGWP ਵਾਸਤੇ ਐਲੀਜੀਬਲ ਹੋਣਗੇ, ਕਿਹੜੇ ਫੀਲਡਸ ਆ ਉਹ, will definitely get a list made out of the occupations that are on the website and we'll post it on our Instagram. ਤੇ ਜਿਹਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਉਹ ਚੀਜ਼ ਰੈਫਰ ਕਰਨੀ ਹੋਏ ਡੈਫੀਨੇਟਲੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉੱਥੋਂ ਦੇਖ ਸਕੋਗੇ। So I'll try and get this done within next week. I'm working as a kindergarten teacher. I want to appear for childcare PR program. I had done IELTS 6.5 band, done a childcare and elder care 6-month diploma also. I'm also graduated. Please guide. Okay. If you are working outside Canada, at this point home childcare pilot program could be an option for you, but only when they announce further details on that. That's one thing. Because ਇਹ ਇੱਕ ਪਾਇਲਟ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਸੀਗਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਪਿਛਲੇ 2017 ਤੋਂ ਸੀਗਾ, 17 ਤੋਂ ਲੈ ਕੇ 24 ਤੱਕ। ਨੋ ਸੌਰੀ 19 ਤੋਂ ਲੈ ਕੇ 24 ਤੱਕ, 2019 ਤੋਂ 24 ਤੱਕ ਇਹ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ। ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਇਹ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਖਤਮ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ, ਪਾਇਲਟ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਵਾਲਾ ਪਾਇਲਟ ਸੀਗਾ। ਹੁਣ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਨੈਕਸਟ ਈਅਰ ਪਾਇਲਟ ਹੋਣਾ, ਦੈਟਸ ਗੋਇੰ ਟੂ ਬੀ ਅ ਡਿਫਰੈਂਟ ਪਾਇਲਟ। ਉਹ ਪਾਇਲਟ ਦੀ ਐਗਜ਼ੈਕਟਲੀ ਕੀ ਡਿਟੇਲਸ ਆ, ਕੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀਆਂ ਰਿਕੁਆਇਰਮੈਂਟਸ ਆ, ਐਲੀਜੀਬਿਲਿਟੀ ਕ੍ਰਾਈਟੇਰੀਆ ਆ, ਕਦੋਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਐਪਲੀਕੇਸ਼ਨਸ ਐਕਸੈਪਟ ਕਰਨੀਆਂ ਆ, ਇਹ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਹਜੇ ਤੱਕ ਅਨਾਊਂਸ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੀਤੀਆਂ। ਵਨਸ ਦੇ ਡੂ ਦੈਟ ਵਿਲ ਨੋ ਮੋਰ ਕਿ ਅੱਛਾ ਹੁਣ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਦੀ ਕੈਂਡੀਡੇਟ ਐਲੀਜੀਬਿਲਿਟੀ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ ਆ। ਪਰ ਇਮੀਗ੍ਰੇਸ਼ਨ ਮਿਨਿਸਟਰ ਨੇ ਇੱਕ ਚੀਜ਼ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਅਨਾਊਂਸ ਕੀਤੀ ਸੀਗੀ ਕਿ ਅਗਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇਸ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਚਲਾਉਣ ਦਾ ਸੋਚ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ, ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਕੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਸੀਗਾ, ਯੂ ਵੁੱਡ ਓਨਲੀ ਬੀ ਐਲੀਜੀਬਲ, ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਵਰਕ ਪਰਮਿਟ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਸੀਗਾ, ਯੂ ਵੁੱਡ ਐਂਟਰ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ, 6 ਮਹੀਨੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇੰਪਲੋਇਰ ਨਾਲ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ। ਪਹਿਲਾਂ 24 ਮਹੀਨੇ ਸੀ, ਫਿਰ ਉਹਨੂੰ 12 ਕੀਤਾ, ਫਿਰ ਉਹ 6 ਕਰਤਾ। 6 ਮਹੀਨੇ ਦਾ ਐਕਸਪੀਰੀਅੰਸ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੀ ਪਰਮਨੈਂਟ ਰੈਜ਼ੀਡੈਂਸੀ ਦੇ ਡਾਕੂਮੈਂਟ ਸਬਮਿਟ ਕਰਨੇ ਆ ਕਿ ਹਾਂਜੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਐਕਸਪੀਰੀਅੰਸ ਗੇਨ ਕਰ ਲਿਆ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਸੀਗਾ, ਤੇ ਹੁਣ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਪਰਮਨੈਂਟ ਰੈਜ਼ੀਡੈਂਸੀ ਗ੍ਰਾਂਟ ਕਰ ਦਿਓ। ਉਹ ਪੀਆਰ ਜਦੋਂ ਪ੍ਰੋਸੈਸ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਸੀ, ਯੂ ਵਿਲ ਗੈਟ ਪੀਆਰ। ਹੁਣ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਅਨਾਊਂਸ ਕੀਤਾ ਕਿ ਇਨਸਟੈਡ ਆਫ ਡੂਇੰਗ ਦੈਟ ਵਰਕ ਪਰਮਿਟ ਪਾਰਟ, ਦੇ ਮਾਈਟ ਜਸਟ ਡੂ ਡਾਇਰੈਕਟ ਪਰਮਨੈਂਟ ਰੈਜ਼ੀਡੈਂਸੀ। ਠੀਕ ਹੈ, ਸਿੱਧਾ ਪੀਆਰ ਹੀ ਦੇਣਗੇ। ਉਹਦਾ ਮਤਲਬ ਇਹ ਆ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਐਕਸਪੀਰੀਅੰਸ ਆ ਉਹ ਫਿਰ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਇਨਸਾਈਡ ਆਊਟਸਾਈਡ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਵਾਲਾ ਹੀ ਸ਼ਾਇਦ ਕੰਸੀਡਰ ਹੋਊਗਾ। ਪਰ ਅਗੇਨ ਇਹਦੀਆਂ ਡਿਟੇਲਸ ਦੀ ਆਪਾਂ ਹਜੇ ਵੇਟ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ। ਸੋ ਵਨਸ ਵੀ ਹੈਵ ਆਲ ਦ ਡਿਟੇਲਸ ਅਬਾਊਟ ਦਿਸ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਵਿਲ ਬੀ ਏਬਲ ਟੂ ਸ਼ੇਅਰ ਮੋਰ। ਉਦੋਂ ਤੱਕ ਆਪਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਹਜੇ ਸ਼ੋਰ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗਾ ਕਿ ਇਸ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਦੀਆਂ ਐਗਜ਼ੈਕਟਲੀ ਰਿਕੁਆਇਰਮੈਂਟਸ ਕੀ ਹੋਣਗੀਆਂ। ਅਗਰ ਇਨ ਦ ਮੀਨ ਟਾਈਮ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪ੍ਰੀਪੇਅਰਡ ਰਹਿਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਹੋ, ਜੌਬ ਆਫਰ ਇਹਦੀ ਪੱਕਾ ਰਿਕੁਆਇਰਮੈਂਟ ਹੋਊਗੀ। ਐਜ਼ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਥੋੜਾ ਬਹੁਤ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਹੋਇਆ। ਸੋ ਗ੍ਰੇਡ 12 ਮਿਨੀਮਮ ਆ, CLB 4 ਆ, ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਰੈਲੇਵੈਂਟ ਐਜੂਕੇਸ਼ਨ ਜਾਂ ਐਕਸਪੀਰੀਅੰਸ ਹੋਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ। ਸੋ ਅਗਰ ਪੜ੍ਹਾਈ ਕੀਤੀ ਆ ਜਾਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਟੀਚਿੰਗ ਦਾ, ਚਾਈਲਡ ਕੇਅਰ ਦਾ ਕੋਈ ਐਕਸਪੀਰੀਅੰਸ ਹੈਗਾ, ਅਗਰ ਆਪਾਂ ਸਪੋਰਟ ਵਰਕ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਰੀਏ ਤੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਐਲਡਰ ਕੇਅਰ ਦਾ ਐਕਸਪੀਰੀਅੰਸ ਹੈਗਾ, ਤੇ ਡੈਫੀਨੇਟਲੀ ਯੂ ਵਿਲ ਬੀ ਏਬਲ ਟੂ ਗੋ ਵਿਦ ਦਿਸ ਕੈਟੇਗਰੀ। Bachelor's degree in arts but no experience, it is possible greenhouse worker job available, please suggestions. Satya, we do not support with any kind of job applications, ਅਸੀਂ ਜੌਬਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਪ੍ਰੋਵਾਈਡ ਕਰਦੇ। ਬਟ ਹਾਂਜੀ, ਅਗਰ ਕੋਈ ਐਸਾ ਆਕੂਪੇਸ਼ਨ ਆ ਜਿਹਦੀ ਮਿਨੀਮਮ ਰਿਕੁਆਇਰਮੈਂਟ 12ਵੀਂ ਆ ਤੇ ਉਹਦੀ ਵਰਕ ਐਕਸਪੀਰੀਅੰਸ ਦੀ ਵੀ ਕੋਈ ਰਿਕੁਆਇਰਮੈਂਟ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦੀ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਉਹ ਹੱਥੀਂ ਕੀਤਾ ਹੋਇਆ ਕੰਮ ਹੁੰਦਾ। ਸੋ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਆਪੇ ਸਿਖਾ ਦਾਂਗੇ। ਉਹਨਾਂ ਆਕੂਪੇਸ਼ਨਸ 'ਚ ਕਈ ਵਾਰ ਨਹੀਂ ਐਕਸਪੀਰੀਅੰਸ ਦੀ ਲੋੜ ਪੈਂਦੀ, ਵੈਸੇ ਵੀ ਅਪਰੂਵਲ ਆ ਜਾਂਦੀ, ਜਿਵੇਂ ਫਾਰਮ ਵਰਕਰ ਵਾਲੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਆ। ਪਰ ਅਲਟੀਮੇਟਲੀ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਜੌਬ ਆਫਰ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ ਹੈ, LMI ਚਾਹੀਦੀ ਹੈ, ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਗੈਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ। ਹੁਣ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਦੇਖਣਾ ਇਹ ਆ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਐਕਸਪੀਰੀਅੰਸ ਗੇਨ ਕਰਕੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕੋਈ PR ਪਾਥਵੇ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੁਆਲੀਫਾਈ ਕਰ ਸਕੋਗੇ। ਅਗਰ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰ ਸਕੋਗੇ ਦੈਨ ਵਾਟਸ ਦ ਪੁਆਇੰਟ। ਤੇ ਇਹ ਸੀਜ਼ਨਲ ਜੌਬਸ ਹੁੰਦੀਆਂ, 6 ਮਹੀਨੇ 9 ਮਹੀਨੇ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਹੀ ਹੁੰਦੀਆਂ ਆ। ਸੋ ਮੇਕ ਸ਼ੋਰ ਬਿਫੋਰ ਯੂ ਗੈਟ ਐਨੀ ਜੌਬ ਆਫਰ, ਉਹਦੀ ਚੰਗੀ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਪੁੱਛ ਪੜਤਾਲ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਕਰਿਓ, ਤਾਂ ਹੀ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਪਰਸਿਊ ਕਰਿਓ। Is there any chance that CRS score dropped to 500? At this point, the quotas that they had, IRCC, it might be closing down on them. You know, whatever the quota was, yearly quota, so they might not want to invite more candidates. That's why the CRS is on the very very high side. It was 539, the last draw that CEC conducted, and only 500 invitations were sent. So it was pretty evident that they just want people in certain categories coming in. That's all. They don't want general permanent residence candidates anymore. Now again, it's not something which is going to be for an extended period, but we need to wait out and see. We don't have any internal or inside information about these draws. So if somebody is saying that, absolutely wrong. It's false information. While applying visitor visa, if someone doesn't fill 10-year history properly and leave it incomplete, also still gets approved for it while changing visit to study if the refill is it misrepresent. Um, On technicality basis, yes, it's misrepresentation. On case law basis, it depends how you portray this application. So if you have made such errors, it's always recommended to come, openly discuss this information, put in an affidavit saying that this was the mistake which was done. Because technically, when the officer assessed your visitor visa application, it was based on the information that you've provided. Now, if major changes are kind of coming in front of the officer, it's up to the officer's discretion on how he or she will take it. If they think that they wouldn't have granted that visa if that information was present, then that means they might consider it as a misrepresentation. So it depends. If I need to use your consultation for just only to verify the documents before I submit my ONP application, do you provide any services related to documents check? Yes, Saurabh, we do provide review services. In terms of provincial nomination applications, it's $500 plus taxes. If we're talking about express entry, it's $900 plus taxes. Can you guide me if that pilot project started again? It hasn't. They announced it that they will, give more information, but they haven't released the information yet. Uh, this time, the minimum education is grade 12. Earlier, it was 1 year diploma minimum after grade 12. That means a lot of people will be ready. A lot of people would be interested in this program. Make sure you have your documents ready, and by December you should be prepared with at least minimum eligibility documents, and whatever they announce at that time, you adjust your application accordingly, and you'll be able to submit it. A Poland work permit visa, we don't deal with Poland work permits. Can I apply to OINP while in Alberta? I'm now based in Alberta doing the job remotely for a job originally is based in Ontario. Jonalyn, no, because that basically weakens your ties to Ontario. So, if you are already in Canada, they reasonably expect you to reside in the province, and it'll be very difficult for the Ontario, officer to be convinced, the processing officer to be convinced of the fact that you intend to reside in Ontario, because that's one of the main, components of any provincial nomination application. So, do not submit an application if you're living in Alberta. Do it while you are in Ontario, if you're already working remotely. Okay, in terms of the field of study codes, a lot of people were asking about that. So, what you can do is you can search on the classification of instructional program CIP 2021, and you can shortlist on the basis of the code that the healthcare occupations have, and you can see whether your occupation is a part before you start your studies. If you're applying before November 1st for any study program, any study permit, initial study permit, any field of study will go. You will still be eligible for PGWP. It will not affect your eligibility. If project will start, then can you help me with the file work? You can contact our office and definitely we can discuss on that. When can I start applying for OINP? I've completed my 1 year course in healthcare and currently on work permit doing a job in healthcare. Um, Navjot, it depends what occupation you are in and what kind of program you completed. If we talk about Ontario PNP's international student stream, you are required to have either minimum 1 year graduate certificate or a 2 year program if it's a post secondary diploma. If you have that, from the date you complete it, you have 2 years to submit an application with the employer's job offer. In terms of working in the healthcare occupations, you'll have other options as well. If, let's say, you are a registered nurse, you could also qualify under the foreign worker stream. Um, and if it's a licensed profession you're working in, so that basically exempts you from the 2 year work experience requirement as well. So again, it depends on your profile, it depends what kind of experience you have, what kind of education you completed, and accordingly would be the date of your qualification for any provincial nomination program. Perfect. So I think we're going to wrap up our day today here. If you guys have any follow up questions, want a one on one consultation, you can discuss with us and call our office at 905 495 8500. And definitely we'll be able to have a phone consultation if you want to come in person. That is something which we can do as well. Alternatively, if you want to book a consultation, you can also use the link which is in our bio, and you can book a consultation, and definitely we will be able to kind of help you further on that. Perfect. Thank you.